On this week's episode of Vanderpump Rules, we watched as Tom Schwartz tried to reunite a group that will never ever be the same again. And we also watched as he called Ariana an egomaniac. Let's get into this recap. And by the way, if you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to my channel for regular pop culture and celebrity news and videos. So let's go. Tom Sandoval at the top of the episode recounts James's visit at his party to Tom Schwartz, who's still there. And Schwartz immediately is like, well, please tell me that you told James that you were sorry for betraying him. And of course, Sandoval did not say that. He had to bring up some garbage from 10 years ago, which very obviously pissed off Schwartz as well. He said, listen, Tom, people are going to be confronting you for a while about what you did. So please just be humble and handle it better moving forward. Next, James arrives at emo night and he tells everybody about what just went down at Tom Sandoval's birthday party. And of course, how Tom brought up the stuff with Kristen from 10 years ago. And everybody there just bitches about Tom Sandoval only being surrounded by yes men and paid employees at this point because nobody can stand him. Meanwhile, back at Tom Sandoval's party with all those random people, Tom Schwartz is like, listen, buddy, I gotta go. It's emo night. Sorry to leave your party early, but it is what it is. And I think this is the first time that we've ever heard of Tom Schwartz leaving Tom Sandoval party early. Like that just doesn't happen, you know? So it really speaks to how fractured the group is at this point. So basically, Schwartz says that the reason that he's leaving is because he wants to support Sheena and because he's closer than ever to James as well. So he really wants to maintain those relationships. But unfortunately, by the time he arrives to emo night, he had already missed Sheena's set. Meanwhile, Sandoval starts talking about how he really appreciates how much everybody has stuck by him. They've been facing a lot of hatred for not turning their back on him. He says Billy suffered a lot of transphobic comments and just like other comments that other people have gotten. And he really tries to like push out some tears to like cry and make it as dramatic as possible, but he fails, unfortunately. And then next, he tries to make Raquel the bad guy, and he talks to Billy and some other random people at his party about how disappointed he is that Raquel didn't even text him a happy birthday. And of course, they really play into his victim act, but the gag is that Raquel had already revealed on her podcast that Tom Sandoval literally tried to force her to leave the rehab that she refused to leave. She was holed up in a rehab because of all the hate she was getting, which is totally understandable. And she told Tom Sandoval, listen, Tom, I can't leave this rehab because I don't trust myself outside of it, meaning I might off myself. And instead of being really sensitive to her needs and her mental health and everything, he goes, oh, wow, I've never seen you so dependent on everything. Like, come to me, come to me.
I was at the Meadows. Tom and I would send letters to each other. So I got a big package. There was 3 items in there: a friendship lamp where you like tap it and it changes colors, Bluetooth connected, 1 lamp per person. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually a really cool gift. And then the second thing that was in that box was an Us magazine. And we were on the front cover in a little square on the top right. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to be on the cover of a magazine. I didn't think it was going to be like this, but like still cool, right? And then the third item that was in there was a letter. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this letter with me and read it later. And so eventually I got to reading the letter, and then I started feeling sick to my stomach because the letter was so insulting to me and the work that I was doing at this treatment facility. He was basically saying, in all the years that I've known you, I've never seen you so dependent on a place. And he was trying to convince me to leave the Meadows and come back to him. And I knew that that wasn't right for me for various reasons. But one of them I expressed to him, like, I don't think that gosh, this is heavy. I don't think I'm safe to myself if I leave right now at this point. And he tried to convince me to leave anyway. And that's when I really knew that this person does not love me. And this is a love bomb tactic.
Like, that is psychotic behavior. So I really do hope that that is addressed at the reunion, because I do think that that's like a really, like, that's one of the worst things I've heard from the show. And that's saying a lot because there've been a lot of terrible things to happen here. The next day, the girlies are hung over from emo night. Katie comes over to Ariana's house and they get like IVs put in them. Is that really a thing that people like do like and look forward to on their hangovers? Like, I don't look forward to needles at all. I could take them like a champ, but I don't look forward to it. It's not something I'm going to seek out. You know, I just, the sensation, just everything I don't love. While they're talking over their straightened arms for their IV. They discuss how disappointed they are in Sheena for inviting Shorts to emo night. They just feel like Sheena, as usual, is someone who's just like not. She doesn't stay the course. She's just always like everywhere. You never know where her loyalty lies, and I totally get that concern that they have with her. I do have to say, though, that I don't like how Tom Sandoval had his assistant cleaning up after his party. That is not part of her job description. So I do wish that she had refused. This is what I meant last week when I said that she's too soft of a person for this role. First of all, she needs to be standing like tall when she confronts Ariana, because she is a mediator. You can't be like acting like a scared, shy, like little fan or whatever, or puppy or whatever, when you're dealing with this role. You need to have like, you need to have some chutzpah. You need to have some cojones, like, what is this? So yeah, she's an assistant. She's not a house cleaner. So I didn't like that for her. And I didn't like that Tom Sandoval even put her in that position. How doesn't he have a house cleaner? Like, come on now, all that stuff you've got and you don't have a house cleaner. It doesn't make sense to me, but I digress. So next up, Tom Sandoval, he is feeling okay after his birthday party. So he pops on over to Pump Restaurant, and Lisa Vanderpump is there. She seems startled by his arrival, like she wasn't anticipating to film a scene with him, which we all know is not the case, right? But whatever. She tells him pretty promptly that he needs to move out of the house, like be a gentleman, move out of that house. And sell it. Like, let's go. And he's like, well, no, I want to stay in it. One of us should keep it. It's a nice house. I paid to upgrade it. I've been trying to buy Ariana out of the house and everything. Like, it's just not working. They're both so stubborn on completely different polar opposite ends here. And here's my thing again. And it just goes down to, if you don't want to live in that house, move on. You know what I mean? Like, for example, and this is so, can I put this here, or is my brain fried today? Because, for some reason, what pops into my head? That biblical story of there's a baby and two women are claiming it's their baby. And so someone in the Bible is like, you know what I'm going to do? I will cut the baby in half and give you each a half then. Okay. If this is both of your baby. So the woman who didn't care about the baby at all and whose baby it wasn't, what does she do? She says, oh, perfect. Because she's, loco. And the other woman who's the mom, she's like, no, like, don't do it. I would rather for my baby to be with someone else than for my baby to be, offed. Like, that's what it feels like. Like at this point, it doesn't even make sense. I don't know where this story came from or why it came to my head, but that's what I'm feeling like. If you don't want this house, sell it to the guy, sell it for as maximum as possible, higher than the market price. Ariana, get your damn coin and get yourself a fabulous new house. There's no point. Like, he wants to stay in it. That's what it is. He's the lady whose baby it is. He wants to stay in the place. Like, to me, it's like, I don't know. If I can't have it, no one can attitude. And I don't love that kind of personality or attitude. I feel like it's kind of dangerous, it leads to a lot of messed up stuff. Not that I'm saying that Ariana is going to do anything messed up or whatever. It's just, you're making yourself miserable to prove a point. And who wins? You're not winning when you do that, in my opinion. Now, at this point, he's also talking to Lisa Vanderpump about Sheena. So Sheena, she's like, wow, how dare Tom Sandoval block me and my daughter on Instagram? But come to find out, the reason why Tom Sandoval blocked her is, although it's great that she reached out to him after the passing of his friend, it turns out that she was also smack talking him in public, like really riling up people who were already riled up and motivated to go and trash his restaurant and to try and ruin his life, right? So she had invited somebody to the podcast named Nima, who had claimed that Raquel told him that Sandoval and Ariana were in an open relationship. And this person also claimed that Raquel was begging him to screw her in Sheena's bed. And he was also pissed because Sheena on the podcast kind of like validated a rumor that he and Billy had been hooking up since the breakup or something like that. He's like, you're being really two-faced. Like, that's why I had to block you, which I can understand, but honestly, this whole situation is just so messy from all ends. So at this point, Sandoval then starts having a meltdown as Lisa is trying to hold him accountable for things, and he accuses Lisa of attacking him. And then he opens up about how his thoughts got so dark at a certain point that he had actually considered ending his own life. And Lisa had lost her brother to suicide, And so obviously this really strikes a nerve with her. And so she's already super tearful. She's like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me after the reunion filmed? I told you, listen, Tom, call me if ever you have dark thoughts. I know that like the world is against you right now. This is hard. This is heavy. Call me, please, please, please. This is how I lost my brother. I don't want to lose you. And so when she told him that, Sandoval had said, no, like, I'm not that kind of person. I'm good. I got it. So she was really shocked and blindsided by this revelation. And it seemed like a very genuine moment. Meanwhile, on the other side of LA, Sheena and Katie meet up for lunch, and Sheena apologizes for inviting Shorts to emo night. She said that it was just like the old version of herself feeling bad for somebody who was excluded. And I'm like, you know what? I get it, Sheena. I do have that kind of tendency as well. Like, you know, where I'll invite people that I don't really care for that much just because I don't want them to be the only person who's not invited to something. You know what I mean? So I do get that. Katie was actually really easy here. She accepts the apology and says, listen, because as part of the apology, Sheena says, I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable with Shorts' presence. And Katie says, listen, it's not about me being uncomfortable. I just want you to be more discerning about who you spend your time with. Like the people around you should be adding value to your life, which I'm like, yeah, girl, you're right. It's true. You know, it really, really is. But here's a question, Katie, is Sheena adding value to your life? Because in my opinion, no. Look at what she did to you last season and look what she's already done. Bringing your ex-husband around, knowing that like y'all have beef, you know, like take your own advice. Anyway, speaking of Shorts, he goes over to Vanderpump Dogs to get his dogs groomed, and he sits down with Lisa. So Lisa's very active in this episode. I really feel like this is the final season, by the way. Like we're seeing more Lisa. These storylines are wrapping up. We see that the group will never be the way that it was before. Like I feel like at this point it's done, but we'll see. Anyway, so as he's talking to Lisa, he's discussing how he had to send his brother to rehab for the third time. I didn't even know that the brother was ever in rehab. Like this is serious stuff. He says that the brother has developed cirrhosis of the liver, I think it is, or is it of the kidney? But you know, when you're drinking too much, it really takes its toll on your body. So this is a very serious, life-threatening health situation. And you can see it all over Shorts that he is genuinely scared of losing his brother and stressed out about the situation as a whole, because I get the feeling that he's the one who's paying for all of these rehab stints as well. And that adds up. He's going through a divorce. His business is tanking. Well, both of his businesses because of Sandoval's affair. And he's potentially going to lose his reality television gig as well, because it really looks like they're wrapping this show up. So the weight of the world truly is on his shoulders here. Now, apparently his brother's issues or dependency on alcohol began when he got jumped outside of a bar. And hearing that just made me so sad. Like the fact that someone like that you don't even know could just jump out of the blue, pop up out of the blue one day and completely destroy your life like that. Like, you know, the trauma that you maintain from that. Like, it's really sad, honestly, to think like you're living a perfectly normal life. And then one day, like something like that can just throw you off. They do also switch the conversation over to the topic of Tom Sandoval and the dark thoughts that he expressed to Lisa that he had been having. And it turns out that Shorts had heard about it as well, but not directly through Sandoval. And he was surprised that Sandy didn't go to him directly because he thought that they were besties, right? Which, listen, I totally get. I thought they were besties too. So I would feel blindsided. And then Lisa then takes the opportunity to announce that she and Ken are opening up a new restaurant. It's going to be on Lake Tahoe. And at this point, Tom's like, oh my God, like I want to come on this trip with you guys. And she's like, yeah, totally. And why don't you invite the gang? Like make it a whole thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works, right? Every season we get group trips, domestic group trips for Vanderpump Rules because they were a group, but now they're no longer a group, right? Like I feel like everybody can do a group trip without Shorts and Sandy, but Shorts is the one spearheading this. Is it possible? I think he can at least get James and perhaps Sheena, but Sheena has been scolded now, right, by Katie. So is she going to go? I don't think so, but I think he can get James and Allie. Because remember, Allie just used him to promote her astrology escape from James plan, right? So she owes him. She owes him a solid. Is there anybody else in the group? I don't see Lala going. I can't. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Meanwhile, speaking of the group, everybody meets up at Sir for drinks, and Shorts tells James about the trip to Lake Tahoe. And James is not interested in Tom Sandoval being invited, but he is working on not letting things like this bother him, which I do think is great because James always had like an impulse control issue and an anger issue. So it's nice to see him maturing. Tom Sandoval then arrives at Sir with a friend, and oh my God, it's all happening. I wasn't expecting him to confront everybody so like soon. I wasn't expecting to see him in the same place at the same time with people like that. Shorts then at this point on the other side, because Sandoval is off having dinner with his friend, Shorts invites the group to Lake Tahoe, and he gets torn a new asshole, you guys. Lala tells him that Sandoval is going to betray him one day too. Like, what is he doing? Trying to bridge the gap for him. Ariana tells him that he is a lost cause and that like she gave up on him a while ago and her life is better for it. And at this point, he's genuinely offended and he tells her to stop speaking on behalf of the group and that her ego is out of control, which gagged a little. I'm sorry, but Katie says, listen, she could speak for the group because we all feel the same. She gagged too, babe. She gagged too. Like, I don't know whose side to be on at this point, you know. Sheena, speaking of, she walks by Tom Sandoval's table with like her Y2K glasses and he says, hi. And she's like, she has this going on this season. I don't know if she got a buccal fat removal or if she's just doing it, but she's like, hi. And Tom Sandoval, he stands up all nervously, like, you know, that meme of the guy with his hands in his pockets, like, he's like, and so she's like, and so he's like, can we talk? She's like, yeah, but not in public. Let me meet you in the alley, babe. I'm going to go piss and I'll meet you in the alley. She just doesn't want to be seen with him in public, which I found absolutely hilarious and just so perfect. Chef's kiss, you know? So they do meet up in the alley and Tom Sandoval's trying to be nice. So he prepares her a vodka soda, which normally is her drink of choice. But surprise, Sheena has been sober for 3 weeks now. So she's not drinking that vodka soda. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you guys get the same thing too when like people are unmasked? I'm not saying Tom Sandoval is a narcissist or anything, but sometimes people get unmasked to a level where they just don't look the same to you. I used to always talk about how I found Sandoval to be gorgeous, like truly gorgeous, right? But now that he's been unmasked as this just disgusting, terrible, self-centered, deflecting like person who will never ever take accountability for anything in his life, like just the look of him, like his face just repulses me. It's the same face that I used to think was gorgeous and everything. But now looking at it, I feel like I'm looking at like a lizard. You know what I mean? Or like a rat or something like that. Like something in me changes when someone like really gets revealed to be a truly down to the core terrible person. I don't see them as that same person anymore. I see them as like you know what I mean? Like a lizard, a rodent, a rat or something like that. And that's what I'm feeling with Tom Sandoval now. So that nice gesture didn't work. And then he starts trying to warm her up by saying she looks like Shania Twain. And he does his fake Botox laugh where he's like, you look like Shania Twain. Is that what you're going for? Is that what you're going for? You know, and it's like, calm down. You are so fake. So the Shania Twain thing still doesn't work. So now he's on his third and final try. He brings up his dead friend. He goes, yeah, this sweater is from my friend who died. And he knows that Sheena had reached out to him about the friend, right? By the way, rest in peace to his friend Ali. I heard nothing but great things about him from Sheena and other cast members as well. And so now Sheena is talking. So his trump card worked, okay? So she asks Tom why he blocked her when she reached out over said friend. And so at this point, they discuss the scandal and she tells him to start apologizing and start doubling down. He's like, Sheena, I apologize to you at your house. And so they do play back that clip where he does apologize and everything. And she says, it's not just me that you have to apologize to. And he claims that he's tried to apologize to Ariana as well, but I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, how do you apologize when you do something so blatant and just so brazen? There is no apology. It's like, I chose to do this thing over the course of several months, meaning I chose to do this morning, noon, and night to you over the course of, it was 6 months, right? 30, 60, 90, over the course of 180 days. I was lying to you. I was betraying you. I was manipulating you morning, noon, and night. How do you apologize for that though? I don't think you can. But anyway, he says that, listen, I know you think you're sticking out for Ariana, but at least she's not as vindictive as like the rest of y'all. And it is true. Ariana hasn't been like throwing him under the dirt or dragging his name through the mud the way that the other people have, namely Lala, Sheena, and James. They're acting like they're the ones who got cheated on by Tom Sandoval, right? James said everybody needs to throw tomatoes at him. Sandoval's a liar. Why did I do that British accent thing on the liar thing? I don't know why. And he also, like at the reunion, he was rabid. Same thing with Lala. She said he was a dangerous individual. She really went in on him at the reunion. She was doing the Send It to Daryl merge and just talking about him on Amazon Live consistently, and just like a bunch of other stuff as well. And then Sheena, we already heard this episode, the stuff she was saying on her podcast. So he is telling the truth there. Then at this point, Sheena calls Tom a narcissist and he denies it. She's like, yeah, well, narcissists always deny that they're narcissists. And so Tom goes, well, that's why Lala won't admit to being a narcissist. And it was just so funny. Remember, Lala called him one at the reunion and everything. And so she was like, well, she's not. I got to go home to my baby. Bye. And he's like, well, you know what? He's like, let me pull another trump card. Raquel, who's in a rehab facility for her mental health. You know, that Nima interview you did, Sheena, that really hurt Raquel. I had to talk her off a ledge. Like, he's a good guy. Raquel is on that ledge and you're telling her to leave that ledge. Jump off that ledge. That's what you were doing, Tom, telling her to leave that rehab and everything. So please spare us, right? Then he says in his confessional, you know, just between you and I, that the loss of Sheena's friendship is the most devastating to him. She was just so funny and like positive, this, that, and the other. And the episode just stops there, you guys. Listen, this group is just so fractured. I don't really see much more happening beyond this season. Like, a lot of you guys are saying you're bored, which I understand. I like it so far. Although I will say I prefer the first two episodes to this one, but they're just fractured beyond repair at this point. You know, it is what it is now. How many episodes will this season even have? Let me know in the comment section. I will be looking it up for my own knowledge as well before I post this video up, but how many episodes can they fit into the season? Like, there's just so many dead ends now. And what do you do with all these dead ends? Let me know what you think. How would you rate the episode, by the way, on a scale from 1 to 10? And if you enjoyed this video, do make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe and support the channel. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.